Hi everyone and welcome to KREM 2 News at noon. It is good to see you. I'm Laura Papetti and we begin today by taking a live look outside on this somewhat dreary Thursday afternoon. Right at noon you can see a little bit of cloud cover out there and overall just fairly gray around the region as we take a look at the flag, just slightly blowing in the breeze. Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo is now in the KREM 2 Outdoor Weather Center. And Jeremy, it's really just sort of a gray day.
Yeah, I think you summed it up quite well. And believe it or not, our temperatures really aren't warming up all that much, but a couple of things of note. One of those is you can see the remnants of the lingering moisture in the foothills over there in Coeur d'Alene. Another one is if you look at the sidewalks, they are starting to slowly dry out. And that's as we find ourselves in kind of a lull in this system. We got the front move through early in the morning, and that gave us some scattered rain and snow early on. But now that's all melted and gone away as temperatures climb into the upper 30s. So it's a slow climb, and believe it or not, we are going to get quite a bit warmer than where we currently sit. It just takes us a while to get there. But that warmth actually comes thanks to that. Our next round of moisture moving in, and believe it or not, the clouds will get thicker throughout the day today. That's right, they are going to get a little bit thicker, but for now we're done with just about everything here across the region until tonight. So after the sun goes down, we get our next push of moisture, and that push of moisture is when the real rain arrives. And that real rain spreads across everywhere, even some of those higher elevations, and it continues into tomorrow morning. Notice 9 a.m. right as you head out the door for work or school tomorrow, we are kind of in the thick of some of that rain. That rain sticks around it and even comes down as rain up in some of those higher elevations of North Idaho, eastern Washington, and even up and over the Cascades. So it's a warm one thanks to an atmospheric river pattern that sets up across the region. Today, well, it's kind of the break before the heavy rain arrives. This afternoon, we are in the 40s before clouds build in and those showers arrive after dark tonight. I'll walk you through just how much rain we're going to get coming up in your full forecast.
Jeremy, thank you very much. Check in with him in just a few moments. Governor Jay Inslee has chosen State Senator Steve Hobbs to be the next Secretary of State. The governor appointed Hobbs to take over the job, which is being vacated by Republican Kim Wyman, who is taking a job with the Biden administration. The governor says he chose someone who has demonstrated what he calls independence. Hobbs is a Democrat who has voted with Republicans on several occasions.
I think it would be horrible to have a Secretary of State that is too ideologically to the far left or far right to fill this position. And so I think the governor was thinking about just all Washingtonians on both sides of the aisle.
And Hobbs is an Asian American. He will be the first person of color to serve as Washington's Secretary of State. North Idaho's legislative boundary changes could impact the Coeur d'Alene tribe. Our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press reporting that tribe officials think changes to the boundaries could hurt representation and be vulnerable to legal challenges. A bipartisan commission approved a new map that revised 35 legislative districts last week. The Coeur d'Alene reservation is currently represented by districts 3 and 5. The change would make the reservation largely represented by District 2. The tribe's legislative director says the reservation prefers a split as the communities align more with their separate areas. All right, 12:04 right now. Well, get ready for extra slippery and wet roads this winter. Between staffing shortages and losing employees to the vaccine mandate, Washington State Department of Transportation says it is worried about staffing this season. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez explaining what drivers should expect when they get out there on the roads.
That's right. So WashDOT specifically is responsible for plowing our area's highways and freeways. So when a big storm hits, their biggest priority is I-90, which you can see it right behind me here. But this winter, going into the winter, WashDOT is warning drivers they're going to be plowing the roads slower. That's because right now the eastern specific region of the Washington State Department of Transportation is missing 25% of their ice and snow employees. That's empty positions like plow drivers and mechanics who make their plows usable. They're trying to fill a total of 65 winter-specific positions. 38 of those 65 positions are open after workers left over the vaccine mandate. WashDOT says they will not be able to fill all of the positions before winter hits, so that means more snow and ice on the roads.
Our plow operators will be faced with, for example, in a large snow event, is whether they leave, let's say, part of I-90 compact snow and ice, versus making it bare and wet and going someplace else and doing some plowing operations.
And now to help, drivers should slow down around plows and allow them to do their jobs as efficiently as possible. The department is recruiting right now, looking to hire. Plow drivers need to have CDL licenses to be hired, but finding workers to fill the mechanic jobs has actually been the hardest for them recently. They are already down half of their mechanic staff. Without them, there won't be as many plows on the roads as there could be. So I was actually able to pull up the Washington State Department of Transportation's job posting right here. This is for a highway maintenance worker, a plow driver in the Colfax, Davenport, Colville area. This is just on governmentjobs.com. You can go to this website, the WashDOT section, and apply straight right there. In Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
Nicole, thank you. Washington's lawsuit against the nation's largest opioid distributors will go to trial next week. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says the opioid epidemic has claimed 10,000 Washington lives in the past 25 years, and he is accusing 3 distributors of fueling that crisis by flooding the state with billions of addictive prescription pills. And as most of you know, today is Veterans Day, a holiday to recognize and honor the people who have served our country. So we wanted to get you up to speed on some of the facts about today and what's happening around the area. Because Veterans Day is a federal holiday, the parking meters downtown are free. However, City Hall and other city facilities will be open as usual. There are a few events happening around the city to honor veterans this year. Right now, there is a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Riverfront Park. It was recently renovated to fix cracks in the memorial. The bronze statue depicts a soldier holding a letter, and the names of deceased Vietnam veterans from the Spokane area are engraved in the sculpture's pedestal. And today, 4 people will start a 100-mile journey to raise money for Quilt of Valor Foundation here in Eastern Washington. They already actually started walking at 5 this morning, and they are walking from the Washington-Idaho state line, heading west into Washington along the Centennial Trail. They will walk the trail for the next 3 days, and they'll wrap up at the Vietnam War Memorial statue on Saturday. You can donate to the foundation on their Facebook page. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery is marking its 100th anniversary. On November 11th, 1921, the remains of an unknown World War I American soldier were brought home from overseas and placed inside. Within the past hour, President Joe Biden paying tribute, laying a wreath at the tomb. And this afternoon, we do want to highlight the men and women around the Inland Northwest who have served our country. So if you can, send us a photo. Include their name, rank, and military branch. You can text the photo. It's easy to do right on your phone, 509-448-2000, and we'll share it this afternoon on KREM 2 News. Well, we're going back in time as part of Boomtown Week here on KREM 2.
One of the things that we said as we went through the Browns Addition Historic District process was sometimes those big mansions from the 1890s or early 1900s that were broken up as early as the 1920s or 1930s, those are some of the most affordable housing units that we have in Spokane. And so by doing something like a district protection, we're actually protecting affordable housing.
So coming up, our very own Channing Curtis is taking a look at the impact that historic homes are having on our housing right here in the area.